Okay, so today we're going to talk briefly about study abroad financial aid, and this is Elizabeth McDaniel. She is the assistant director of the Texas Tech Study Abroad programs. So she's over all the programs for Texas Tech, but we have a particularly good and close and amiable relationship, the College of Architecture does, with the study abroad that Ms. McDaniel helps us put together. Ms. McDaniel is going to explain to you study abroad scholarships that are available to each of you, and also about how your financial aid that you get from, who's that office? Financial aid office that you get from financial aid office, how you can manage that so that you can save some for study abroad. And then she'll take questions. I'll turn it over to Ms. McDaniel. Thank you very much for being here. Let's give her a nice College of Architecture welcome.
Well, thank you for inviting me over here, because it's a lot easier if I can answer all these questions now instead of 35 individual people coming to my office. So really briefly, I'm going to talk about how the billing for your program will work, and then how financial aid will work, or scholarships will work, and financial aid. The application for your study abroad program will be opened on November 1st, and you will be receiving a link. I understand your lottery is next week. Monday, and then you'll know the results of that later in the week, Wednesday. So by November 1st, you'll know which program you're going to be doing, and you'll be receiving an email link where you can just click on that and it will take you to the application page. It's really important that you do that sooner rather than later, and then you can be working on the application during the rest of this semester and then into the beginning of the next semester. So, probably going the wrong way. So here's how the billing for your program is going to work. Our office, once we know that you are in that program, you will be accepted by our office, because the College of Architecture will tell us that you can be accepted. And then you'll receive an automated email that will tell you that you have 2 weeks to commit. So we'll do the accepting by the end of January. And then you will have until February 14th to commit to the program. And here's what committing to the program means. You're going. It doesn't mean I'm still thinking about it. It doesn't mean I haven't figured out if I can afford it or not. It means you're committing to going on the program. So when you commit, then I will be billing the deposit for your program, and the deposit for all of the programs will be $1,000. And it will go onto your student account, and once I put it onto your account, then you pay it through Student Business Services like you pay any other thing, a parking ticket, library fee, tuition, whatever. You pay it on your regular student account. Once it's on your account, then it's up to you to figure out what the deadline is that Student Business Services sets, okay? It's not our deadline for payment, it's Student Business Services. Anything that's on your account is governed by their rules for payment. So if you don't pay it on time, then you'll get a late fee, then you'll get a hold on your account, then all kinds of bad things will happen. So make sure that you understand what that deadline will be. And I will send you the link for Student Business Services, how you can figure that deadline out. Okay? Questions about the deposit? Dr. Ellis. Right, non-refundable. And it will say on your student business account, your student account will say the amount, and it will say NRDP, which means non-refundable deposit, and then we'll say like ARCH Paris, ARCH Seoul, something like that. So you'll know it's not going to be a big surprise charge on there that you can't figure out. It'll clearly say on the description what it is. All right? Yes, sir.
About what date will the letter to commit come out?
Well, you'll be accepted at the end of January. So school starts on the 15th, we'll accept you by the end of January, and then you'll have until February 14th to commit. So you'll have 2 weeks to commit. So between now and then, you need to be talking to your parents, you need to be talking to financial aid, which I'll get to in a minute, about the affordability of the program and if you can really afford it. Because not only are you committing to go, you are committing to paying all of the program fee, whether you go or not. Because very shortly after the 15th of February, our office has to start paying hotel deposits, excursions, all of that kind of stuff. So our office is making a financial commitment that you have to help us meet. Does that make sense? Okay, so the deposit is billed on your student account as a spring charge, meaning it's due in the spring. Then towards the end of April, third week of April, I'll bill the remaining program fee. So let's just say that your program costs $6,000 and your deposit is $1,000. So the third week of April, I'll bill the remaining $5,000 program fee as a summer one charge. Okay, so that means you don't have to pay that until summer one fees are due. Right? So, in addition to the program fee, is also your tuition fees. So the $6,000 program fee, for example, includes your being abroad. So whether it's Verona or Venice or Paris or Seoul or Seville, that's the being gone part. That's not your tuition and fee part. So on top of the program fee, and it's really important that you understand that and your parents understand that, on top of the program fee is tuition fees that get triggered when you actually enroll in the courses that you'll be taking while you're abroad. So that will come onto your account separately when you enroll in the courses. And then, I'm not going to talk about this too much, but we'll also be enrolling you in insurance. That will be billed as a separate charge, summer one, as will the education abroad fee, OIA fee, which is $75. The insurance costs about $1.50 a day. Your programs are about 45 days or so about $60 for insurance, and it's mandatory. You had a question?
What if you already have insurance?
We require this because it has emergency evacuation and repatriation insurance. So if you were to get so sick that you needed to be brought home from your program, or if somebody died, which we will not have that happening, then it would bring your body home. Yeah, none of that. We're not having any of that. Okay, so it is required. Yeah. Okay, is everybody clear on how the billing works? The deposits and the program fee and tuition and all of that?
What is the
OIA, it's the education abroad fee is how it shows up on your student account. It helps to fund our office. And so all faculty-led programs are billed that, $75. All right, no more questions? You sure? Because this is the money part. Yeah.
For the tuition and fees with that, like for instance for the military veterans offices for Hazelwood?
Yes, yes. So anybody who is receiving Hazelwood, or if you're eligible under the GI Bill, then these tuition fees can be covered by that. So if ordinarily your tuition is paid by Hazelwood, it would continue to be paid by Hazelwood because you're taking a Texas Tech course. Now, if you have any specific questions, you should check with the MPV office, military, MVP office, sorry, about that. But yes, it will. Okay? Yes, sir.
You just mentioned that some fees are waived.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so part of the fees are waived. You know, when you enroll in a course here on campus, you pay not only tuition, but you pay all those gazillions of fees that everybody just flips out about. Some of those fees are waived because you will be abroad. And it's about 5 fees that add up to about $150. So it's actually, the tuition and fees part is a little bit cheaper than if you were taking the same courses here on campus. So like you don't have to pay the transportation fee because you can't ride the bus. You don't have to pay the medical services fee because you can't go to the wellness center. The energy fee and student services fee. Anyway, there's like 5 fees, about $150 more or less, that's going to come off your bill, okay, or not show up on your bill. All right? Okay. Now, the Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship. You are paying every semester that you're here $4 in the international education fee. And all of that money gets collected and comes through our office and is awarded by a committee for students to study abroad. Last year in the College of Architecture, we had quite a few students who said they couldn't afford to study abroad and they never bothered to apply for this scholarship. So I want to see everybody in here apply. It's just silly. You know, that's like the best return on your investment. How many semesters have you been here? What semester are you? 6. So how many dollars have you spent? 24. And how much money are you going to get back? Maybe as much as $750. So that's the best investment you will ever make in your entire life. Trust me. Okay? So there's no excuse not to do it. The scholarship is going to open for the summer on January 15th, the first day that school starts, and it will close on February 27th. And there are no exceptions to that deadline. So in other words, you need to get your little patootie in gear when you come back on campus in the spring and get it started. And the reason it's important to start early is, one, you need to have official transcripts submitted, so you've got to work with the registrar's office to get those done. And if you wait until February 27th, they won't be able to issue them in time. It's all of the summer students and all of the fall students are applying at the same time, and that's about 800 students. And if everybody waits till February 27th to get their transcript, guess what? It's not going to happen. So get your transcript as soon as you come back on campus. You can go over there and pick it up by hand. You can order it online through RadarLink, however you want to do it. If it were me, I would go over there, pick it up by hand, and bring it over to our office and drop it in the little drop box that we have. Yep.
Is the scholarship only based on grades, or is it like a portfolio too?
It's not your portfolio because it's for all students across campus, but the committee looks at GPA. You have to write a statement of purpose. That is super important. And you have to get some recommendations. So let me show you kind of what the process is. Well, first of all, here's how you find it. This is our website, which is www.studyabroad.ttu.edu. Pretty easy to remember, right? studyabroad.ttu.edu. So when you click on financial resources, then you'll see a little drop-down thing that says scholarships. Click on that. The Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship is the first one. That is the only scholarship that you are eligible for as students going on faculty-led programs, unless the college has scholarships, which they don't. Dr. Ellis is shaking his head. Okay, but everything that you need to know about the scholarship is right there. And in fact, when you click there, you see where it says advice for the Study Abroad Competitive Scholarship? Read that. That was written by the committee that actually reviews the applications. So that lets you know exactly what they're looking for. What they're not looking for is, it's going to be so cool to go to Paris and see the Eiffel Tower. What they are looking for is something that is thoughtful, that is why you want to do this program, how it's going to help you academically in your current program, and how it's going to help you in the future develop as architects for the future. All right, so really important to spend some time on the statement of purpose. You also have the chance to have a statement of financial need. But I can tell you that a student who has a really great statement of purpose and no financial need is going to beat a student with a really terrible statement of purpose and very high financial need every time. So you need to really pay attention to that. They really don't look at financial need very much. They ask you if you're receiving it, if you have high financial need, but it's not one of the top factors when they're reviewing your application. So the application is right there, deadlines, you can click to see what that is. Oh, let me go back. Oops, sorry. So the other really important thing in the scholarship application is that it requires 2 recommendations. This is another reason why you need to get started really early. And the recommendation request is online, as is the submission. So we don't want you coming over to our office with a paper letter from a professor because we won't accept that. But you don't want to send the request to the professor the day before the due date, because they don't like that. So what we recommend is that students identify the professors that they want. It can be the professor who's leading the program. It needs to be somebody who knows you well enough to talk about your academic capabilities. Now, at least one of your recommendations has to be a Texas Tech professor, and it's much better if both of them are. You do not want to get your mother, your pastor, your supervisor at work, because those people can't talk about your academic abilities, and that's what the questions are geared towards that they have to answer. So really think about the professors that you want, and then go talk to them and tell them what you're planning to do. Ask them if they're willing to write you a good recommendation, and make sure that they are. You know, you don't want to submit somebody's name and then have them write something terrible about you, or not bother to do it at all. So you have to have 2, but you can request as many as you want. So if it were me, I would request at least 1 extra one. So in case somebody forgets, they get sick, they're at a conference, whatever, then you still have those 2 recommendations, because your application is not complete without 2 recommendations. Okay? Now, about 75% of the students who completed the application last summer were awarded something. And you all have the advantage of being on the longest summer faculty-led programs that there are. So when the committee looks at the group of students, they divide it up by length of programs. So 2 to 4 weeks gets 1 maximum amount. 4 to 6 weeks gets another maximum amount. 6+ weeks gets another maximum amount. Are there any grad students? No, they're all 3rd years, right? Okay.
And we're 6+ weeks, right?
Yes, you're 6+ weeks in general. So you would be,
Would get the maximum, well,
theoretically, yes, they are eligible for up to the maximum. But each student is evaluated individually. So the maximum amount that you would be able to expect would be $750. Now, in no way is that ever going to pay for your program, right? Because we all know your programs are expensive. But I wouldn't turn down $750. I'm guessing Dr. Ellis wouldn't turn down $750. I wouldn't even turn down $250. If I found it on the street, would I bend over and pick it up? Yeah. So could I spend an hour writing a good statement of purpose? Probably. Okay? Questions about the process or dates or anything like that? So official transcript, you need to have a GPA of 2.7 or above to be eligible for the scholarship. Hopefully that's all of you in here. Recommendations, good statement of purpose. Okay? All right. So the last thing I want to talk about is financial aid. Nikki Nordell is the financial aid advisor who works specifically with our office to help study abroad students. The tricky part about financial aid is that if you are eligible for it, well, if you're not eligible for it, you're not getting it for just for the summer. So we'll just put that out there right there. If you are eligible for it, you get awarded by the year, and it gets dispersed by the semester. So if you are counting on financial aid for the summer, you need to make sure that you don't spend everything from the fall and the spring, so that you have some of that to carry forward. They do sometimes have grants just for the summer, but as we all know, with the budgetary constraints happening in the federal government, then we don't know how much of that money comes through. If you have questions about your financial aid eligibility and how much you should try to set aside, you kind of know how much your programs are right now, I would suggest that you email Nikki and set up an appointment and go talk with her to see what you might be eligible for. And you definitely want to do that before you click that commit button. Okay?
on February 14th.
On February 14th, right. What our office will do, we've already worked with most of the professors on budgets for their programs. And just so you know, we try really, really hard, the college and us working together, to keep your program costs as affordable as possible. We know they're expensive, there's no question about that. But you're getting a good value for your money. We're not just in there, layering on, oh, let's do this and let's do that, and making it more expensive than it needs to be. Dr. Ellis.
And we're not a for-profit business.
Right. Yeah, we're not trying to make any extra money. The money, we're billing you as close to the margin as we can get. And if it comes down to where all of a sudden the exchange rate gets super great and it doesn't cost as much as we thought it was going to be, then we have the capability to refund money back to you when in the fall term after your program's complete. Okay, so just know that we're not in the business of gouging students. It's not a little slush fund for our office or for the college. It's really, we're really trying to keep the costs as close to what it needs to be as possible. So anyway, what I started to say about the budgets is that we will then provide a budget to financial aid for your program so that when you meet with them, they know what the cost of your program is, and they can look to see what your eligibility is, what you've already been awarded, how much you have left. Okay? Any questions about that? Okay, and then the last thing I just wanted to mention really quickly is how many people in here don't have a passport? Now would be a good time to get one. Okay? We have a passport office in our building, so either, think about it between now or over Christmas holiday, Thanksgiving holiday. Well, Thanksgiving is hard because offices are shut, but over the Christmas holiday, getting your passport. We have a passport office in our building. Does everybody know where the Study Abroad office is? Nobody does, right? Okay. You know the building that has the big globe out front, the International Cultural Center with the big globe out front? That's where we are.
Across from Marcia Sharp.
Right, if you just go across the bridge on Marcia Sharp and you see the big train and windmill, we're right next to that. So in that office, we have a passport office, and it's open Monday through Thursday from 1 to 6, where you can apply for a passport. In order to apply for a passport, you need to have a certified copy of your birth certificate. Not a photocopy, but like, no kidding, the birth certificate. Doesn't have to be the one that your parents got immediately when you were born, but it does need to be an official one issued by the state, not the one from the hospital with the little baby footprints on it.
Yeah.
So the official one, okay? A passport costs $110, and it lasts for 10 years. And then in addition to that $110, there's a $25 processing fee. And then you also have to have passport photos, which cost $9. So altogether, you're looking at about $144 for your passport. But then it's good for 10 years. And you can go back to Paris or wherever. Okay, so think about doing that over the Christmas holidays. Otherwise, do it as soon as you come back, because what you don't want to do is have a ticket for Seoul and no passport, because that plane is leaving without you, no matter what. Okay? The other thing to think about is if you are a non-US citizen, then you need to think about and find out for yourself what the entry requirements are for citizens of your country into the country where you're going to be going. Because for US citizens, for all of the programs that the college is running, there are no visa requirements. But for non-US citizens, there may be, depending on what your country of origin, country of citizenship is. So please think about that. Now, for the students who already have passports, how many people already have passports? Okay, here's what I want you to do. Do you have them here in Lubbock or at home? At home. Okay, when you go home at Thanksgiving or Christmas, I want you to find where your passport is and look at the expiration date. Okay? Because if you got it when you were younger than 16, it's only good for 5 years. So some of you could be closer to expiring, well, your passport expiring. Sorry.
We have insurance.
Yeah, right, we have insurance for that. But you just don't want to get taken by surprise when at spring break you go, oh, darn, or worse, May, and you realize that it's expiring. Because your passport needs to not only be good when you leave, it needs to be good when you come home. They will not let you on an airplane if your passport is expiring within 3 months of when you're planning to come back. So you need to make sure that your passport for these programs, the programs are ending like mid-July, right?
Yes.
Your passport needs to be good until at least December of 2014. So if it's not, now's a good time to get a new one. Yeah.
Any restrictions with military passport?
You have a military passport? You can't travel on a military passport unless you're on orders.
I'm out of the military, but I still have my passport from the military.
Is it a regular blue covered passport?
Correct covered.
You need to get a new one. Yeah, because you can't use that unless you have orders accompanying it. Yep. Okay, any other questions? So money, deposits, billing, financial aid, scholarships. Yes, sir.
When they do find, if they are current, whenever they get their passport, whether they find it at home or they order it new, they need to make a PDF, is that correct?
Yes, yeah. One of the requirements that you'll see when you do your application is that you will supply us with an electronic scan of your passport. So if you don't have scanning capability, bring it to our office, we can scan it for you.
They all have scanning ability.
Okay, let me put it this way. Please do not scan a document to me that's a 20 meg scan, okay? So compress it down a little bit. And make sure that your passport is signed before you scan it. So if you're getting a new one, please sign it because it's not valid unless it's signed. Okay?
Why does the office need
Why do we need it? Why do we need it? We want it because we want to, one, we want to make sure you have it. Two, we want to make sure it doesn't expire before you leave or come back. And three, in case you lose it, we have an electronic copy that we can supply to you that you can take to the American Embassy and go, I lost my passport because I got drunk in the bar last night and I need a new one. Okay? So,
Which will not be
happening. We know that will not be happening among these students because we know how serious architecture students are. Yeah. Okay. And then just to let you know also, one of the requirements will be that you will come to pre-departure orientation. And I don't have those dates off the top of my head, but more or less it's going to be around the second week of April. It's required. If you don't come, you don't go abroad. Okay? So, but you'll get lots of information about that as the time goes by. So, no questions? This is like the serious money part, so. No? We're all good? Dr. Ellis, yes.
Are you at the end?
I'm at the end.
Because I just want to say a few
okay.
closing remarks into the microphone. Generally, in-state tuition is about $2,400 to $2,500. Generally, your program fee, that we went through our list, will be about between $4,000 and $6,000. The rest of the cost of your study abroad is your plane fare, and if your meals are not covered, I think they are in Seville.
Yes, in Seville they are. Mm-hmm.
In Paris and the other programs, well, Verona I think might be. No.
I can't remember.
Anyway, you're going to be paying for your own food. So it's your meals, your daily pocket expenses, and your plane fare, which make up the rest of the cost of the program. What we have on the website is an estimate. We will have, we hope within the next 2 weeks, the firm program cost that pays for your housing and your transportation while you're on the ground. It pays for all excursions and everything else that we do abroad, except paying for your food. And some of those excursions have food included as well. So anyway, those are the, yes sir?
Does Bordering County count on this for a city abroad as well?
A bordering county? Do you
State, I guess, or I don't know.
do you currently have in-state tuition?
Well, I have that during this semester, but I don't know if it applies.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're eligible for in-state tuition, then it applies all the time. But if you pay out-of-state tuition, guess what? You will pay out-of-state tuition on this program too. Okay.
And we will have those tuition costs nailed down soon as soon as SBS has
Right.
those posted on the website. But they're not going to go up dramatically, so you can look at the websites currently and get an idea of what the tuition is. So, also I wanted to mention that the College of Architecture does have scholarships, but they are not for study abroad. We have a lot of scholarship money for which students did not apply last year. And those, you'll be getting a notice in December about those. scholarship possibilities, and then the deadline is in January when we come back. You submit a portfolio and a statement of intent, and there are many scholarships to apply for. So that can help defray the cost of your 4th year. And if you apply for these scholarships, and we never give less than $1,000, then that will help defray fall's cost, which in turn helps defray the study abroad cost. So I urge you to apply for the College of Architecture scholarships, which we will announce at the end of the semester when everything is absolutely busy and you're all crazy anyway, which is a good time to give information. But we will give you many reminders of that. So, do you have any other questions for Ms. McDaniel?
Yes, sir.
How much is exponential?
I'm sorry?
Like you talk about tuition, like it's within the range of where it's going to be. It should grow exponentially. Is that like $1,000?
Oh, Lord.
For tuition? Oh, no. Usually,
That's-
the Board of Regents has to approve it, and they're always really late with doing that. But I think last year it went up 7%, which is not insignificant. But I don't think that they expect that high of an increase again. In fact, for this year, they didn't increase it at all for the fall and spring.
So if it were $2,500, which it was, and I think it was 23 something, a 7% increase would be less than $250. So it wouldn't be more than, if it were $2,300, then it wouldn't be more than $2,500. If it increases, if the Board of Regents increases it. Is that clear? Does that answer your question? Any other? Mr. Petty.
Some of the merit-based scholarships that we currently give, I want to make sure they don't apply for study abroad.
It depends on the scholarship. Some scholarships are only for semester, and some are for summer as well. So if you're not, you're awarded by the scholarship office? Is that what you're saying?
I believe so.
Okay. You might want to just check with the scholarship office to see if that will continue through the summer. Okay? Yes?
There's still a chance that we could get grants for the summer.
Yes, I think so. But that's something to talk to Nikki Nordell in the financial aid office about. Okay?
You need to make an appointment with financial aid as soon as possible and talk to them. It won't be one meeting, you'll probably have 2. So go and find out all the information you can about what possibilities exist for you for financial aid in the summer, so that when you go home over Thanksgiving, you can talk more knowledgeably with your family about what the actual cost is going to be.
Okay, and it just occurred to me that there is another scholarship that some of you may be eligible for. If you receive a Pell Grant, then there is a scholarship called the Benjamin Gilman Scholarship that's sponsored by the State Department. And the average award for that is $4,000 in the summer. It is not a scholarship that you can just start the application for the night before, believe me. Because it requires a fairly lengthy statement of purpose, and then you also have to come up with a project that you will do following your study abroad experience to encourage other students to apply for the Gilman. But we have a very low application rate at Tech for that scholarship, which is really unfortunate because there's a lot of money that gets awarded. It's a nationwide scholarship and it's competitive, but when Tech students apply, they tend to do pretty well. We just can't get them to apply. There's a new office on campus called the Office of National and International Scholarships that Dr. Lynn Falwell is the director of, and her email is l.falwell, F-A-L-L-W-E-L-L, @ttu.edu. She is willing to work with students on their Gilman applications, reading your statement of purpose, helping you refine your project, doing all those kinds of things. But it can't happen the day before the deadline. Okay? So if you just Google Gilman Scholarship, it's something like gilman.org, but if you just Google Gilman Scholarship, it will give you an idea of what when the application opens and closes for summer. And then that will let you gauge how much time you have to really be thinking about what you want to do.
Is that G-I-L-M?
Gilman, Gilman. But that's probably the biggest award that, well, it's a great award, it's a great scholarship, but like I said, it does take a lot of work to do the application, so if you're going to apply, don't wait until the day before. You really need to be working on it for several weeks and coming up with a project. And I'm sorry?
When is it open?
It's not open. Let's see. It's going to probably open, I'm guessing, right around the 1st of March. The bad thing about it is that you don't find out until really late. You really don't find out about it until May or June. So it needs to be kind of in your back pocket, like, oh, it would be so great if I got this extra $4,000, but not count on getting it, because you will have committed to your program way before that. Okay? Other questions? So if anybody thinks of a question later on, then my email address is elizabeth.mcdaniel. So Elizabeth with a Z. McDaniel is McDaniel @ttu.edu. Okay.
Thank you
That
very
is-
much. We appreciate it.